You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special digital stream of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. As we stand on the brink of the 2024 presidential election, our nation faces a critical moment, a moment that will define the future of our democracy. Tonight, we aim to inspire every American, regardless of race, religion, faith, sexual orientation, economic status, or age, to get out and vote in support of the Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, and her running mate, Tim Walz. Time is short, the stakes are high, and every single vote counts. So let's dive into just why this election matters so much. We begin with the urgency of time. In just a few short weeks, Americans will make a choice that will shape the future of our country. This election isn't just another political contest, it's a battle for the soul of our nation. With Kamala Harris at the helm, we have a chance to preserve and strengthen our democracy, ensuring that it works for all Americans. Her commitment to justice, equality, and opportunity stands in stark contrast to the divisive and dangerous rhetoric of her opponent, Donald Trump. So, joining me tonight, our special guest contributors from Democrats Abroad, in addition to Japan-based scholars, historians, and educators from the U.S. and Japan. Together, we will discuss the significance of this election and how every vote, especially from expatriates here in Japan, can make a difference. Let's start with Angela Fobbs, chairman of the Global Black Caucus of Democrats Abroad, based in Frankfurt, Germany. Angela, welcome to Japan Journal. Gentlemen, could you introduce yourself and describe what you do as the global chair of the Black Caucus, and talk to us about why it's so crucial for American expats to participate in this election, and then share with our listeners what we have to do to vote and support the Get Out the Vote efforts. Welcome, Angela, please.
Thank you, Mal. It's so great to be here with you. I'm the chair of the Global Black Caucus for Democrats Abroad, and we've been around since 2017 and contributed greatly to the elections that have taken place since Trump was elected the first time. And we never want that to happen again, because he is not just dangerous, but I feel like Tim Walz said, he's just weird, and so are the Republicans and all their ideas. The idea that they want to control everyone and what we do and how we act and what we're going to be. Trump spoke about black jobs, but I think black jobs are the president, the vice president, the
Nice.
Department of Defense secretary, and any other job that black people want to have.
Supreme Court of the United States, Supreme Court Justice.
Supreme Court,
Yeah.
that's right, and any other jobs. So he's not just wrong in his interpretation of what America should be, but he's also dangerous. And Americans abroad can make a real big difference in this election. We are the margin of victory. And there's been many races, including in Arizona and Georgia, and also in Florida, that we've made the margin of difference because our votes count just as much as anybody else's. I would highly recommend that everyone that lives abroad go to votefromabroad.org and request your absentee ballot. Please ask for it to come by email so it arrives quickly and on time, because our ballots come out on September 21st. And so that gives you enough time to get your ballot, vote, and get it back. Each state has a different way that they want their ballots back. Some states require you to send it by postal mail, which takes the longest. I think in some countries it's better that have poor mail service. I don't know what the mail service is in Japan, but I imagine it's probably really good. That you can just put it in regular mail. But if you wait until like October, you really need to send it by an express service like DHL or UPS or FedEx or something like that to make sure it gets back on time. And we have all the help that you need. If you have questions, we have voter help. We have everything you need to help you vote. I mean, you have to make your own choices, and I hope your choice is Harris Walls. And
Okay.
be sure and be sure to vote down ballot because we're not going back.
Oh,
And Trump and JD Vance, who I just have to say, I'm originally from Ohio, and I grew up about 20 miles from where JD Vance grew up.
wow.
And his depiction of what, I mean, maybe his life was really sad and tragic. I don't know. But first of all, Hillbilly Eulogy or whatever the book is called.
So crazy.
It depicts his life in Ohio as basically kind of a misery, and that's not what I experienced. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I appreciate it. Give us a word about the Black Caucus. I am freshly familiar with it. So what's the function, overall mission? What's the history of it? And how impactful are they in situations like this?
So it's open. You can join the Black Caucus by going to our website, democratsabroad.com/BC, and just click the join button. And it doesn't matter what your race or ethnicity or religion is. Please join us if you want to live in a better and different world. For me, the idea of starting the Black Caucus I'm not going to say it's changed my life, like, oh, it revolutionized my life, but what it did is it made me see how many people there are out there who want something different, who don't want to live in this sort of racist, nationalist world. So please, everyone, join. We have a lot of events, and we're going to, once we win this election in November, we have an awesome Black History Month planned, because we will have made history in so many ways. And so it's going to be an awesome thing. Right now, we're working on getting out the vote. And I'm going to be appearing on this show and other shows around the world to try to make sure that everyone, not just especially Black people, though, vote, because our votes are very important. We're one of the biggest constituencies in the Democratic Party. And so we need to show up and show out to make sure that Kamala and Tim win, because I feel, and this is, I'm only basing this on my internal feelings, my knowledge of history and other things, but that if Kamala Harris wins this election, it's going to change our world to a point where we're not going to be able to, 10 years from now, we're not going to be able to recognize this old world that we're trying to make America back to. That as far as I'm concerned, the things that a lot of these people, the Heritage Foundation, Trump, all of these sort of right-wing people, they actually have an ahistorical memory of history. And they don't really understand that all the people that were in the 50s or the 40s were working to get to this point. They weren't trying to stay where they were. And that you can't go back, and we're not going back.
Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. I wholeheartedly agree and endorse everything you said. And that's why we're doing this series of programs up until Election Day, and hopefully I can maintain this panel to contribute. So feel free to invite us and to support your activities at the Black Caucus. In summary, tonight we've heard from experts and passionate advocates about the importance of this election. We've discussed the urgency, the historic significance, and the key issues at stake. Now it's up to you. If you're an American living in Japan or anywhere else abroad, your vote can make a difference. Register with Democrats Abroad, request your ballot, and get involved. And let's stand together so we don't fall apart. And support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to ensure that democracy prevails. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and our viewers all over the world of the Global News Network on this special digital streaming episode of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams, urging you to stay informed, stay engaged, and most of all, and most importantly, get out and vote. So for all of my guests here, thank you very much. I bid you sayonara from Japan. Let's do this, because when we fight, as Kamala says, we win.
We win.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I
I'll be
appreciate
back.
you. All right. And I bid you good day.
You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.